Oh, it's very easy. All right, may I have your attention, please? The spirits are about to speak, and they are friendly spirits. David, you may have at them.
Hear ye, welcome to Sacred Grounds with Dan Brady as the current host of this, the longest running open mic in the known unknown universe. Serving up good food and fine poetry since 1972. Please support this reading by enjoying the food and drink served here. Let's have a big hand for Teddy and Fiona, our hosts. Yay! Poetry of all kinds, ladies and gents, is welcome, but we do ask you to respect the mic. Keep conversations to a whisper, put phones on mute or vibrate, and do not distract the speakers or pass in front of them. Also, keep to the time limit, usually 5 minutes, but that can change. Some of you feel like an eternity.
Yeah.
Remember, we have 2 shows, a 7-ish and 8:40-ish. For those reasons, I ask for generosity.
Generosity! Jesus!
That's what I want.
Hallelujah!
By going short on your time and long on your feet.
Long.
It helps with our tradition of getting everyone on the mic.
On the mic.
If you want to be in the loop, we have an opt-in email list, a Facebook page, a YouTube channel, and a We Stream Live, which is handy in 5 ways. You can do it from home. Family or friends can see you live or later on. If you want to hear so-and-so's poem again, why, you can. Want to do a self-critique? Ha, ha, ha. If you really want to, ho, ho, ho. And it is a way to put out the word are yours, ours, mine, minutes, days, years, and eons. Remember the ongoing theme, never doubt that a small group, us, of committed citizens, us, can change the world, indeed, us. It's the only thing that ever has. Margaret Mead, the evening's theme is?
The evening's theme, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by someone that I can't remember exactly, is restless, as in not having rest, or less rest than more, never mind.
Less rest than more. Yeah. Also, next week's feature will be...
Next week's feature will be Kim Shuck, the San Francisco Poet Laureate, will be here.
Kim Shuck, the only.
The only.
Now, as for the first show, the keynote will be...
The keynote for the first show is... The Cursive Writer. Who is here? In the back.
Ricardo Sandoval.
Yes.
And while our feature is...
Our feature is Chisway Siegel, who is giving the Queen's or King's wave right there.
Yeah.
Our
very own. As to the second show, the last word will be...
The last word is Julian S., who's new, signed up, and I don't know if he's here because I can't remember. Oh, Julian! Oh, good, you're here. Thank you. I couldn't remember. I knew it was you, but I wasn't sure that,
The mini feature is...
The mini feature is Lauren Bacall. No. The mini feature is Shem, the mighty.
Just
mysterious.
And we have fabulous door prizes.
Let me go over these fabulous.
A sill,
another opening, another show, never mind. Okay, if you signed in, your name is next to a number or vice versa. And at the end of the day, you can have Charles Darwin's Voyage of the Beagle. Thank you. This is Fetish Fantastic, edited by Cecilia Tan. I don't know that one.
Ouch.
Memories of the Future, Sigmund Freud. No, it's Sigmund Kazurus. Say that, please.
Krizanovsky.
From Krakow. Read this book. Now, this is the 20. This was found, and it's in perfect condition.
Evening, if an audience member wishes to do so, please ask.
These are the other door prizes, and the co-pilot, Antoinette or Newport, or one of the other. Comes up here, kick off another fantastic evening, brought to you again by Colgate-Palmolive, whose criminal activities are famed throughout the world.
Blank you.
Thank you.
No, blank you. Because I'm on the internet. I don't know.
Oh.
All right, if I get through this, or maybe 2 poems here. John Trudell, rockin' the res. Listen to the skies, listen to the sound. Something on the land, something going down. Down pressure speeding by life, fever's heart burning rivers to cross. Walls of Babylon material noise, thinking they've touched the moon. Freedom takes a rocket blast, just another day like yesterday. Rocking my heart, rocking the res. Women like you, times like this, all that's real connect to you. Happy medicine making me smile, seeing you laugh, getting so near. Rocking our hearts, rocking the res. First, starting wars with the stars and working on offing Earth. What kind of future is that? Some weird kind of living. Who needs that lie? Pretending we aren't stars, too, isn't really very bright. Earth stars with jailbreak in our hearts. Just another day like yesterday. Rocking my heart, rocking the res. Woman I want, woman I need. Times when times do get hard, you sure are some comfort. Rising up love, living on carries on, rocking our hearts, rocking the res.
All right.
And come on.
Who was that first piece by?
John Trudell. He was AIM president from 72 to 79. His wife was pregnant, 3 children, mother-in-law were burned to death. FBI agents were considered the culprits. And then he became a poet. All right, this is Equinox, poem by Joey Harshaw. I must keep from breaking into the story by force. For if I do, I will find myself with a war club in my hand, and the smoke of grief staggering toward the sun, your nation dead beside you. I keep walking away, though it has been an eternity, and from each drop of blood springs up sons and daughters, trees, a mountain of sorrows, of songs. I tell you this from the dusk of a small city in the north, not far from the birthplace of cars industry. Geese are returning to mate, and crocuses have broken through the frozen earth. Soon they will come for me, and I will make my stand before the jury of destiny. Yes, I will answer with the clatter of the new world. I have broken my addiction to war and desire. Yes, I will reply. I have buried the dead and made songs of the bloods the morrow.
Thank you. I'm handing him the attribution sheet. When you read a poem by somebody else, I give you that so I can properly attribute the attributional attribution. Thank you so much. And now, Alistair Crowley, Maud, Marvin the Magician, Shaquille O'Neal, Solomon Gundy. Yes, you are. I was waiting for you to come forward. Antoinette Payne, please come forward. Woo! As my mom liked to say, Yahoo!
I'm giving it up here. Okay.
There we go. Oh, let me lower this a bit.
Okay, thank you. That's perfect.
All right.
Start my clock because
Yeah,
I'm
all
going
right.
to use it.
All right.
Okay. Bright green grapevine rustles, almost transparent between lattice, tiny tart tasting bulbs, some dried to raisins. Summer day when I changed my name to 11. Someone without my past falling in wet grass. Skateboarding junior high school ramps to unknown places, almost flying, swerving concrete corners, long roads cross restless years. So many identities formed to escape my one inexplicable self, grown, preserved in space. Smooth morning coffee looking out, light rain this spring gray day, list of things to do, to know my value. Gentle breeze touches my face in friendship.
Yeah.
Thank you. Biker flies downhill past cars, notepaper flits from their pocket, receipt or poem lost now, recovered or removed, unfurled what is unknown yet trust to evolve. Biker goes downhill past cars, scrap paper trails them, blueprint for navigating this life. Poetry makes my challenge real, world of illusion. Man so hungry for love listens not to pleas for privacy. Plants himself where I stumble, breathe close, hold me. Heat on body, love, I concede. He says I make everything too difficult, except this one incredible solitary life is mine. Misty air fills streets at night near Ocean Park, gifts bestowed and restless spirits form in trust. In search of Holy Grail, they say it's found at Cathedral de Valencia, edge of town. Fireworks seen from rooftop over white sand, beaches for miles as night sky lights. Far away from Crema, final burning of huge ancient statues turned powder gray ash. First drops of rain fell at midnight, God's assurance Valencia doesn't burn itself. Last train to Seville, convent in middle of old city, cobblestone streets rinsed clean. My dog eats pen, something to get writers' attention. Deploy that luscious ink because we love it. Thank you.
Annette, thank you. All right, who's the next?
Bob R.
Bob.
Bob.
Do this, come on, get this
I
done.
need somebody to hold the mic.
Will someone hold the mic? Help them hold the mic, please.
They don't have my class. Somebody else has them and I don't know.
Thank you, Antoinette. All right, I'm gonna focus in on him, so, and then you'll be there too, so that'll.
I'm gonna force myself to do it backwards.
All right.
Hold first and then the disclaimer. Something that is possible, even today. Let's not get into it. Have a smoke spoil the mood. This is the first thought you had or dreamed. As you went to smoke, here you are. Do I resent their happiness? Yes. Seeing an individual, I say no. But yes, en masse. Why? Because you asked, I will tell you. They think they can walk a desert, but in the city, not on that desert did you know camels come this far down. But in our place, the oases are different. No flowers, but otherwise the same. Let's pluck the flowers from their walls. After all, they will not miss them. They weren't there anyway, they say, and all day they just laugh. And this is a disclaimer which I wrote because there were pieces missing from my work, and that's the only motivation. My name is Robert Allen Gordon, and I would like to say here on the World Wide Web that any of my works published under my name anywhere but in the city of New York, I herewith disclaim to be known as mine. Furthermore, anything published under any name other than mine, which is found to be my work, I herewith assert is plagiarism. This holds, except in the case of a work published with my written permission. Today's date is April 3rd, 2019. All other claims are made erroneously and against my wishes. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and the next one is Britt Peter. The mighty Britt Peter, and then I'll have a quick announcement after Britt comes up here and does his usual tour de force. Let me focus it in here, and you're ready to go, dear.
Okay, the theme, restless. The restless bodhisattva at heaven's gate. Here's another Trump tweet. God damn, they'll never get the story right. Open that gate, I'm going in now.
Open that gate.
Okay. Stars in the sky, poets singing in the street. I wake up in the middle of the night, wanting a clear sky without clouds. The look around, the accounting, the reappearance, the big boy, Orion, thoroughly ensconced in the west. Betelgeuse, the belt, the trapezium cluster, Rigel, the blue giant, those stars and clusters reaching us from various dimensions, all brighter than our own sun. Star Maker implies that this small planet could vanish, go in an instant, a puff of smoke, perhaps unrecorded, while all those other stars burn, growing, diminishing, following paths unhampered by human folly and greed. Sleepless, my reviewing the previous day, sifting through mind clutter for specks of value, like our shouting out poems down an empty alley. Last Sunday, we made a little music there, 3 poets, a guitar, and a master trumpeter. Spring happening, the dresses, the straw hats, the open windows are wanting a larger crowd, more enlightened response, realizing after the fact what was cool or worthy. Now past the futility of restlessness, the frustration of starting a kindling fire, a return to the worn leather bag of words to discuss time, to portray the frolicking hunter, the mock warrior, this mind lost in scanning and measuring, for a few moments looks through the blackboard, through raw space toward the great mendacious designs of stars, their living myths, and remembers also sunlight against a painted wall as we sang out. And a last restless one. Maybe the word should fall into every poem. Restless wind, restless people, crossing the chartered Thames and lakes time, marks of weakness, marks of woe. Restless people, 35,000 on Roebling's Bridge, left now out of the history books, occupy. Restless people put under a bridge, pinned in by the U.S. government at El Paso. Emma Lazarus, asylum laws, give me your tired. Restless millions in camps worldwide. Cholera, carrying water through the mud, almond-eyed babies. Turn your own eyes away from the TV screen or from the window of the 71 bus or the California corridor rolling through. North face tents growing near Bissell Avenue. Humanitarian aid, a paper towel thrown into the crowd. There is no resolution or neat couplet to end this poem. Restless wind, restless people. It was a take-home essay test, and I remember the kid writing, turn government into usement and begin to honestly address actual human need.
Thank you. Peter. The magical Mr. Maiku is coming forth now. Give him a round. Oh, I was going to make a very quick announcement. I forgot to do this earlier on. A group of people here have joined to create a small anthology of poets who also are here or read here. And if you're in, I do have a price for the item. It's it'll be about $3 per copy. That should cover everything that I don't have to pay for. And then if you want to know more at the break or at the end of the evening, I'll explain all that needs to be explained about that, and we'll begin to take that more seriously. Just one more thing. This is the 3rd. By the 10th, if you're interested, you should probably make sure that we have funds in hand by the 10th, because they need to plan how to have it here by the 1st of May. That's the objective. 1st of May here, giving out copies. So thank you, Ed, for being patient with me. And we're back to you. It's all yours.
Thank you, Dan.
You're welcome.
This poem, called The Phoenix, was the name of a place that, after the fire, became, I think, Bound Together, it's called now. It's on Haight Street.
Oh, yeah.
And I lived next door, and part of the building I lived in was scorched.
It used to be on Hayes, of either a block or so, which way or the other. It used to be over here.
Yeah, it also had 2 different places, but this was the main sales place in the 60s.
Yeah.
And this was like 1970, but anyway, this is
There.
called The Phoenix. All that noisy night, the phoenix flamed, crackling embers into singeing song, scorching fog, fuchsia, western laurel tree, and raising memories of my flower years, smoke, clouding what passes, these keys of flesh. Time the phoenix entered the sundance, fragmenting, shattering, grinding down my tired half-dreams of a failed dream, and scooping from that mist of muffled bones one frail and fragrant puff of finished fuse. Fleeing, finding stars, sky, sirens, screaming. Years turn, hope springs again into morning, so what could never end might yet still come again. The Phoenix. And this poem is also sourced by place. It's called Freedom West, where I lived afterwards for 35 years in the Western Edition. Velma, Tyrone's mom, who hardly looks 50 at noon, told me that Tyrone, now 35, has a kid and a jerky heart that kept him out of the military and has pretty much gotten out of the hood, and his wife's a Filipina. Velma in Freedom West Co-op, again now 15 years, is retired from the post office, sorting in Evans Street, you know. Ugh. Feels like she's due to live, and her new husband likes wearing fresh clothes, and she had to break him of it or be washing clothes all the time. That's another one. Dark angels. In love we meet through choices, in a limbo of confusion to consecrate the present, the only triumph. Some future moment waits on this, how we can weigh frenzy in the fruit. We journey from dark into dark on our own feet, drawn by the first spring odors of narcissus and hyacinth. Shaped by pasts we select to learn from, oriented and disoriented by experiences, we come to clinging to inviolable prose and icons, and longing to put our feet by family, simply and crudely. It is necessary to accept the dark angels, tomorrow's promise.
Thank you. And then Mike Hughes. Owen Dunkel is next, and while he's coming up here, yet another announcement, advisement. We do have a very full list, so try to go short, because otherwise we won't get everybody on. That's one of the traditions here, is getting everybody on. So far, people have been very generous with their time, and I appreciate that. So I'm just letting you know in advance, try to go short, like I intend to do, even though I am tall, or long, as they might say. So give Owen a nice round as he comes up here, and then we will receive face, onward and anon. I love that word, anon. Anon.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Said, the evening gone to a cement-like sky. All metaphors have vanished to the rainy sky of a winter afternoon. Gone. The day curls up into a ball and does what it was meant to do and not what it was not meant to be. After the rain, the muse of the rain makes me sigh like a mystery of the rainwater. Life is a mystery of rain and flowers, the mystery of metaphor of ah me, ah me. Sleep. Sleep came like a cameo. The rain has vanished with sleep and a metaphor. Sleep came softly and bleats like a sheep. The night goes slowly like a new neon lord. Calm the afternoon. Noon branches of fade and bloom. I write in a room that murmurs like a womb. My mind is like a tomb. No lines came. No metaphors came in slipper green. This was at Claire Hazoo's request. To Don, this is the late Don Brennan. To Don Brennan, your metaphors are a lonely outpost that I pray to in silence, like the aloneness that I love. I am the alone quality of your poetry, as your metaphors are the house of the earth, or those of the earth. Poem. I hold my pen in an observation of the nothing and something of everyday elegance. At Starbucks, days pass by one. Time and space, more time and space. The wind whistles like a locomotive passing us by, like the movie The Greatest Show on Earth. Stop, don't you see the lights? I feel like an elephant trainer waving his arms for his would-be loved one, the girl on the flying trapeze. This poem is the greatest show on earth. Soon on Broadway it will be shoot time. I am an impetuous madman shouting an eternal opera. Night poem. The dead of night beats its wings on the lonely Trieste. Night follows day. By day it is the lonely crowd. By night it is the lordly lonely wings of nightly delight. The starry day will soon become the black night as a metaphor calls my name in the distance. Soon the moon will arise to signify the end of June. Pensée. On a quiet day in North Beach, the day is as languid as a Jane Austen novel. The Café Trieste is a funny novel of manners. Lines written upon seeing a tattooed stripper perform. Hi. Sorry, here we are. Right. Nighttime at the Trieste. Paradise saws at the houses of necessity. The moon waxes and wanes like the color of green cheese. Puzzlings at the paradise of virginity.
Thank you, Mr. Owen. Next up, Free Mankind, the honorable and the well-regarded.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Owen. All right. And thank you one and all for your attentiveness to the time. I really appreciate that. It helps me get everybody on, or helps everybody get on. It's not
This is a poem I wrote for Women's Month, which should be a year, every year, all the time, every
Every day.
time. Reparations can never be paid. And now we got Women's Achievement Month. So, I don't know if I have the right, but it's my comment on that. Speak. Speak as if through frozen lips to break the ice. How can you hold yourself back from speaking? By what law of man are you silent? By what rule of life are you shut down? Speak. Tell us everything. Words are thought. Thought is life, is us. Tell us what yes means, what no feels like. Tell us what you know to be true. Point out the false gods we worship. Rise up, be free, speak free. Tell us what you saw and what you see. Speak of your knowledge, your math, your art, and your science. Speak for your eyes. Say what they would say if they could talk. Speak for the people, speak for la femme, speak for the future, for generations to come. The lion and the lamb, speak for the outrage, speak for the gods, speak for the beauty you see, speak for the beauty that carries her burden so gracefully. Speak for the love of the world, to any hand, heart, soul that will listen. Speak for their causes, speak for their losses, speak for their pain, the hunger, their families, their fields, and their names. Speak for the freedom to speak they gave up for no reason. Speak for their unreasonable fear to use that which has been given. Words are life. Birth is a death sentence. Life is short. Tan largo el pesar, tan corto el placer. Everyone wants to go to heaven. Nobody wants to die. Everyone wants to be slender. No one wants to sweat. We'll all be in silence too soon. No one leaves here alive. What fear could come close to the fact that life is precursor to death? Rote has no rhythm, no rhyme. It cannot be enough. Remember to speak up. You gotta be tough. So speak, that memory may last. Speak for the voice that you cast. Speak for the joy of being your own. Speak that you pray, whatever you say. Speak of the day to the night, and to the night of the day. Speak to your culture. Speak to its bias. Make sure to work over the liars. Dear sister, don't just sit there. Speak to las mulas, las madres, las santas perdidas. Speak to hombrones, barrones, ladrones. Speak to women. Speak to the men. Speak for the little girls who don't know where or how to begin. Speak for them all to be free. Speak for the truth that you see. Tell us stories of them, you and me, that all about life is nothing but we. And to be we who live parallel lives with parallel goals that never touch is just not enough. We specialize ourselves into an insulation that carries us deeper and deeper into myopia, past all the good life that we miss. If I don't ask about you, you won't ask about me. I'm left with myself. My world sinks into only this. So say thanks to your God, if there is a God. Include the soil, air, water, the tenders of toil. Remember each one as only part of life as a whole, of life as a force to serve and obey. But mostly, speak as if through frozen lips to break the ice. Please do not consider being nice. Speak from the warmth within to light the way. This world is yours as of today.
Mankind, thank you. All right. Where is the next one?
The next one is Tommy Abacola.
Oh, it's Tommy Abacola Mecca, is it? Will you kindly come forward? After him is Elizabeth and Martin and the Free Radical and David, just so you know who's coming up here. And he's up here now, so I'm going to stop because he'll tell me he's annoyed with me already.
A heart that doesn't exist. That's what he wants to give you. Yank out the one you already have that works fine and replace it with nothing. Just for the time being, of course. Once he designs, tests, and gets a new one approved, it'll be the best, the biggest, the strongest. It'll outlast the old one. No one will have a heart like you. You might die in the meantime, but maybe not. After all, he's from the party of healthcare. He knows all about hearts, even though he doesn't have one.
ahead.
Young woman on the crowded bus seemed restless,
Ah.
mumbling to herself, suddenly started yelling like that little man in the famous painting. She kept it up, got off at the next stop, continuing to scream as she walked down a street filled with business people and tourists who kept their distance. Her words incomprehensible. She didn't seem to notice other people staring. I wanted to get off the bus, scream with her. I'm sure other riders did too. We're all angry. We live in a world where war has become the norm, where a mass shooting could end all of our lives at any time, where nothing seems to make sense. Restrained by social mores, we go about our lives keeping it in, behaving as we're told, when all we really need to do sometimes is scream!
That's restless.
And finally, I'm going to end with, I think when I'm in a room with gay men of my generation who lived through the AIDS epidemic, this is something that I realize. We don't have to talk about it, the tear in our hearts that has never healed, that no surgeon could ever sew. We're survivors. We lived through a war that is not over, that was never declared, though we were forced to fight it, forced to take up arms against an enemy we couldn't see, and another that was all around us. One killed us, the other allowed us to die. We're almost the same age. We know what we went through. We see it in each other's eyes, hear it in our voices. We can't hide anything. We don't want to. We're still here. They're not. All the friends, lovers, they're in our dreams, whisper to us sometimes. A face, a gesture reminds us of them. Those who remember the past are condemned to live with it forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy. I like the generosity I'm seeing. It's like a lot of people are really taking the time considerations to a good level. I really appreciate that. Elizabeth Bailey, right?
Yes.
Thank you, thank you. Elizabeth, give her a nice round. She comes up here. She hasn't been here in a while.
Can I announce a reading?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, get on the mic, because I don't know. Some people in the back might not be able to.
Okay. It's National Poetry Month. I'm hosting a reading at the Maritime Museum, the foot of Polk Street, April 25th, 7 to 9. And what else? Third floor, stairs, elevator access. And the theme, it's a themed reading, thalassic poetry, or anything to do with the sea.
Okay.
So please come. Got a couple of poet laureates going to be there, Kim Shuck, Jack Hirschman, and others.
And others.
I'm
You'll be there.
I'm hosting.
Okay.
Yes.
There we go.
And I'm reading this strange thing.
What's that?
Echo Cliffs by Katie Lee. Look out, ye ancient, ruddy, gripping forms. The marauder is coming. The Geiger stick there in his hand, a price for you is summing. And now, how will the echo ring against your sullen height? So different from the ancient drums once called across the night. The children of your shadow beg for food, for peace, for rain. God of all the gods, look down and rob our nest of pain. Deep within the mother pouch, some bygone yesterday, our fathers rose and moved about, thus molded from your clay. A fire feathered by our gift, to Pachamama's hand, returns his blood to earth again, no redder than the sand. The fire lies in cold array upon a floorless cave, as tick, tick, tick the Geiger's stick ascends toward the grave. A cairn now rises here to claim this trampled ancient mound. Once altar stones, they are the same. The mountain gods look down.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. And now isn't it Martin?
Martin.
Martin, the other Martin. Martin, for crying out loud. Actually, he's not crying out loud. He's just,
Oh, pretty much all the time.
really?
Please, let's celebrate the master here, Dan Brady,
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
who's here,
Just wait till you
under
hear me,
health issues, as you can see.
Yes.
He's not himself.
I'm schizophrenic.
Whenever I manage to write a new poem, I gotta go read it to these people.
All right.
So this was yesterday. A little edit for the theme. I wonder if you'll detect it. And then it's called Restless Clouds Rolled In, and rain painted the grass, and then you and grandfather ran down the path quick, scattering squirrels and pigeons, climbed in the car, and then drove home to eat. And then your side of earth moved on towards dark, and safe in your crib you dreamed of what you saw. Broken fish caught on the dock, puddles asking for pebbles, ducks on water walking, and then you and Mama and Papa slept right back to the sun, and then overhead grandmother's boo woke you with a start, and you screamed with delight, and then another magical day began in your magical life. Actually, that was a couple days ago. I had her for a day and took her to that Candlestick Park, you know, that wonderful park.
Who'd you take to the park?
Oh, Looney, the 2-year-old who was the star of that poem.
Ah,
That's a 2-year-old girl, in case you
very good.
missed that. This is what I got yesterday. It's called Pass the Time. Like, you're at the table, pass the salt, pass the time. What is that taste? Seasoned, so delicate. To say bittersweet begs the flavor you hunger for. No matter how little is left, what you beg of, what you sell, what you humbly ask more, please. What is bought at great cost and lost when you stop to admire too long your face among shadows, the stream of dreams flying by. I offer this as no one's representative, no creed nor kind, just a member in the human race. I'm running right alongside you to the grave. Your breath singing your being, your ears catching strange sounds, your eyes taking in the light of these words, sharing for a moment this now. Thanks.
Free radical. Unfortunately, that's me. Oh, thank you. Buford, can you make sure I'm focused in on there?
Let's see.
And I remember.
You're a little too tall for it.
Okay, well, I'm a little too tall for it, he says.
Let's go up a little higher.
That the poem that he read, they mentioned, someone passing the salt or passing something at the dinner table. My brother's rude joke was always, I will as soon as it gets through the digestive tract.
Yeah, help me.
I know. He would do that at Thanksgiving when, he would always do that once, and my mom would go, I'm going to kill you then. A or B?
A.
Thank you.
Okay, so this one's old. It goes back to the years what I call the Bush reign of error. And the first few lines came to mind. They kept on repeating and repeating and repeating. So I figured, okay, I better write it. Anyway, here we go. Fair Helen. Aeolian stars, soft night air, Aegean beauty, ever fair. Dancing through the hall in her prime, sweet Helen loses no grace with time. Millennium's girl, it's true, I still fashion a blush on you, your sweet glances caught shimmering while lyre and muse sat singing. Ardent whispers given and caught while no one knew what would be wrought. Sweet Helen's constellate beauty was their clarion for duty. They set sail for Ilium bound and brought its battlements to ground. Fervent love returned at last, forgiven all for what was past. And when in time your guise gave way, the vigil was kept night and day. Men stayed on, stood close at hand, guarding the treasure of their land. Then, when your blink was slowly missed, a maiden's hand touched at your wrist. But here, now, though ages have passed, your beauty continues to last. What is the mystery we have here? Why should this tale be so dear? Could it simply somehow be a story worth eternity? Or do we now lack their sense? Does it chide our indifference? Dear sweet Helen, I give you this, my respect in a lover's kiss. That's, world history shut down. And see, that has to do with restlessness, but this is more restlessness. This is a really old piece, but it's called Preventing Contact. Okay, my drunken youth is exposed here. But what he did was play my guitar and sing. I mean to tell you that I was surprised the way he loved the sound out of it. The first thing I thought, though, was, here is another one of Molly's bar-hopping flings. I'd seen it many times before. He sat there across the table, blue jeans and plaid shirt, like some lumberjack hero with boots of traveling brown and so much wind in his hair. His face, windswept, features, the north wind, cold spirit seemed barren as the tundra. Unlaughing, never warm, his voice deep, smoked, heated through the cold nights at a fire or huddled under a bridge. I was afraid of his romantic rambling, myself being so settled. Then, in the morning after, showing me how to cook tortillas over an open flame, saying that he liked butter as he just spread it luxuriantly. The day he left, Molly cried. He spent time and talked freely, and later, I found it, a fist-sized sphere, dense metal, polished mirror bright. In memory, it's still on the mantelpiece. It draws the whole room in. As I touch it, my fingers curve away, bowing away from themselves, preventing contact. Thank you.
Oh, this is David Erdreich, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, David Erdreich.
Is it David Erdreich? Is David here?
Calling David Erdreich, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine.
I'm sorry about that. You're supposed to say no, you're not.
Yeah, you're okay.
Oh, thank you.
These restless desperados that are my poems, I can't make hide nor tail. Sometimes the tails seem to hide morose slights, Depeche Mode, tendrils of small despair, that a good swim or a grandson's careful attention quickly dispel. Distaff am I, the bad seed that fights through the pavement, the ugly muckling, blooming changeling, kicking aphids to the curb, fuchsia, bluebell, bulbs, lily of the onion, sharp yet healthful, comestible, full of tang, my fingers render the earth friable, herd rife. The maidens kissed me once with frequency, love, lust, I've tasted the nectar, the sweat beads, the funk, the blood, the mucus, the bacteria, the yeast. Now I am just ignored. Petals brush my lips, attar rubs my nose. For that I thank the bees. Perhaps it's time for Bayer and Monsanto to implode.
Yeah, Monsanto.
Sequel knocks. Commit by rote to memory these numbers in account, quickening, releasing love in just the right amount. Sepulchre and calabash concur to dish and dash, separate strands in synthesis combine in sour mash. Fervent ferment transpose, inventory holding sway, and so, by contravenous ways, we end in fits and starts our days. Panoply, bumblebee, come and sit upon my knee. Salamanders eat sow bugs, decimate the snails and slugs. Mushroom compost at the base, feeding roots that long to taste future castings of the worm. Sandhill cranes along the berm, tap the bottom, buds on top. Pay the springboard never stops. Blossom of alyssum, attar of the rose, where hearts are free, we often see a pulsing inner glow. Openers, in a nonce, blithe and bonny springs a thing. Verdant green, climbing beans, mushroom blush, painted lady, monarch too, flit among the floral zoo. Nectar stirring, hummingbird, bees a buzz on the leaf, new motif born of fuzz. Oxalia, Echium, Lobelia, oh spring, I've got the feel of you. Trillium, tulip tree, magnolia, open please. Timely test, build a nest, crook, sky blue. Then invest in this chest, I love you. Closers. As light goes, bouncing off the walls, my shadow blurs, yet heeds the call of exercise to stretch the band, the muscles of the inner man, silence, chattering, verbal, straight, open, quiet, pulsing gait, release the contents of the dam, gently breathe, and so program a currency of sun and moon, reanimate my own cartoon. As a gardener, it seems all my life I've been gathering dust. What's the point of it? It dissipates to nothing. How much time I got?
You're at about a minute.
A title doesn't need to be directly linked to Innisfree. Arcane, obscure, or lacking chance, demure, unsure, a backward glance. Unsuspected, round the corner, under the eaves or jutting dormer, nestled all within another. Doppelganger, aye, twin brother. Errant mistake, flipped on its side, taken for a fatal ride. Slipped the stirrup, missed the turn, hole in apple turning worm, repetition growing fonder, heedless of what's over yonder, a bit of drill, a turning screw, the aftermath you never knew. So do your sums and some will answer, I'm your bumbling necromancer. Thank you.
Thank you. Ding, 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 as we like to say. Or actually, other people say that. All right, Mr. Buford, you want to
Make sure I'm still there. I think I should still be there. Buf? Yeah. Am I good? He's good. All right. What a refreshing evening this is. Who thought of Restless? Who ever thought? Who did think of that?
I did.
Oh, I forgot to write your name next to that. Give him credit. Always give credit where credit is due, my mom used to say, even if you did steal it. This is my favorite parts of the evening where I get to brag unabashedly on a feature while she goes there, no, not that story, not that story, not the one about the boxcars. I won't do the boxcar. She doesn't. She said, never do the boxcar story. I won't. You'll have to ask her about that. All right. Shizue Siegel is the feature of this evening. Okay. And give her a round of applause right now because I'm going to brag a bit here. Now, how I came to be familiar with her, Jimmy, thank you, dear. I'm hearing you. Anyway, sorry about that. Where was I? Oh, yes. How I came to understand who she was that David Erdreich, where's he? Where did he go? Back over there. He gave me an anthology called Endangered Species, Enduring Values. And he read from it a few times, and he gave me a copy, and then he said, you know, you should have some of these people come over here. So I thought, okay. I contacted the editor of this wonderful anthology, and we talked, and then we arranged a set of readings that are happening. Well, the first was last week. This is her evening, and then next week with Kim Shuck, it's another iteration or another step in the whole series. So all the readings in April plus last month are all part of the event. But hers is one of my favorite phrases, and it really suits her very well. There's the term passionate compassion. And that is a term, to me, it speaks to the heart of what it is to be a poet, and it certainly describes part of what she does. She cares, she's concerned. She has a history, and she has suffered through that, and there's long stories there. She has courage, she has given of herself to help others. I mean, what kind of, you can't hard to get better praise than that. She sacrificed to make sure that other people had what they needed to keep themselves healthy. And at that time she was doing that, they weren't paying her, so she decided to keep the care going on her own. And it was a tough one. So she has heart, courage, she has clear ways of expressing herself, but I'd rather have her up here rather than you have to listen to me describe it.
The real thing is coming forward now. Give her a nice round as she comes up. We're going to arrange this. Okay. Now, okay, make sure this is right. You want me to give you like a 5-minute warning or something, or something like that?
Yeah. I think I'll be okay.
Okay,
But,
all right.
you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, all right.
You can boo me off the stage if you want.
All right. Well.
Timers are.
Oh, let me make sure you're framed there. All right. There we
Okay,
go.
well,
Give her a nice round. There she is. Now she's ready to go. Woo!
Well, I don't know if I can live up to that introduction, but.
I try.
This is the book that this series of 5 weeks is drawn from, Endangered Species, Enduring Values. And I'll also be reading a couple pieces from the previous anthology, Standing Strong, Fillmore and Japantown. And I have a new one that I'm working on, so I'm a little brain dead tonight because I'm trying to figure out how I can squeeze 90 writers into the next anthology.
Carefully.
Civil Liberties United. So if you're interested in the book launch for that, that'll be June 22nd at the Korat Auditorium, Main Library. So I'm actually not going to be reading poetry on National
It's your
Poetry
choice.
Month, but I'm reading about women.
All right.
So anyway, the reason that I've been doing these anthologies is I went to so many poetry readings and writing workshops where I'd look around the room and the room was not reflective of the diversity of the city. So somebody tell me what's the percentage of people of color in this town?
15%, 20%.
No, more than that.
No, 40. It's like 48 or something like that. I remember.
It's 58.
Oh.
As of a couple of years ago,
Oh,
and I
okay,
just
I'm
looked at
dated.
the census estimate, and this year it's going up to 60 is what they're estimating, in spite of gentrification, which I think we'll find out that assholes come in every color because who can afford to move here anymore?
Well.
Anyway,
The very poor.
yes, that's true too. Anyway, so thank you, Dan, for having us for the rest of the month, and last month week with Queen Amdi Shabazz. And anyways, next week Kim Shuck will be doing a whole 20-minute set. Because she is so generous that she'll go to 1 million readings and read 1 or 2 poems and then leave the stage for other poets. And I said to her, you've been writing some remarkable stuff lately. I want you to take the whole 20 minutes. So.
And she said yes. That's very clear.
And then the week after will be Kimi Sugioka and Thomas Robert Simpson. If you haven't heard of him, he's the founder director of Afro Solo Theater Company, and he does amazing one-person shows, and he produces stuff with other people. And then the next week, the last week, will be Gail Mitchell and Tony Robles. So, let me read. I should tell you also that one of the things about the anthology was I'm not one of these people that hangs out a lot and goes to readings and stuff. I mainly like to walk around and talk to people. So I spend a lot of time trying to drag ordinary people into the book. And a couple of examples of people in endangered species. Dr. Sriram Shamasundar, who's given a TED Talk on Ebola. He works for UCSF. And he writes about, he does like healthcare equity around the world. And he writes about when he was a resident at a county hospital, coming out of the bathroom one day without his lab coat and his stethoscope, and being collared by the security guard who looked at his dark skin and thought that this South Indian man was shooting up in the bathroom. Or Sandra Bass, who is an associate dean at UC Berkeley, who was dressed for work, taking out her garbage. She lives sort of in Pacific Heights area, taking out her garbage on the way to work one morning. The new gentrifying neighbors say, "Hey, why are you going through our trash? I'm calling the cops." So, anyway. So, I'm gonna read a little bit about my two grandmothers. The Japanese word for grandma is bachan. Bachan grandma. Of you, I know mostly facts, not feelings. Your eyes were like jet, brightly opaque, seeing all without weakness. Gaman, endure, persevere beyond hope. Kichinto shinasai, do it just the right way. The year before you passed in 1981, you dreamed you died, but the gatekeeper sent you back because you hadn't suffered enough. They say nirvana, the Pure Land, awaits those who can say 3 times from the heart, Namandab, Namandab, Namandab. I put my faith in the Buddha. In 1913, you put your faith in a man from the next village who left behind his 2-acre rice plot in a narrow mountain valley in Japan. When the man called you to California, you went, wooed by photos of horse and plow, haystack and wagon, and promise of mutton leg sleeves and an ostrich plume hat. So you packed your best kimono and steamed over the long ocean to the big land. You placed your faith in this man, this life, this land, and it was good. Though children died and crops failed, you prayed to the Buddha in the dining room and Kami-sama in the kitchen. When plows turned up arrowheads, you asked the Shinto priest to placate the spirits who loved the land before you. You worked around the alien land laws, shipped your produce to LA, dressed your sons in sailor suits and your daughter in silk stockings. Where did your faith go in 1933 when your husband drove into a telephone pole and his stomach filled up with blood? The hospital would not x-ray. They called it pneumonia. The insurance company would not have to pay double indemnity for accidental death. You said he might not have died if he'd been white. You said it only once, but afterwards you often walked to the cliff's edge, looking west across the seething sea towards home. Gaman and gambate, suck it up, never give up. Put your faith in 140 acres and 4 children. hire a new foreman, grow lettuce and peas and cantaloupe. Then a white man bought the land out from under you, wanting to profit by doubling your lease. But you told him no, moved off the land and up the hill, built another house, reached out to your community. Let's all tell him no. For a full year, no Nihonjin leased in your place. The land fallowed until the landlord knuckled under and let you come back at the same price. That kind of Jap conspiracy does not go unpunished. So, in 1942, Pearl Harbor forced you from the coast. Barbed wire snagged you and cast you into the searing desert over the objection of the local Indian tribes, imprisoned with thousands of others in acres of tar paper, shimmering like a mirage that would not dissolve. Tucked inside your shoe, all that remained of your previous life. A clipping, Jap house, burns to the ground. What did you have left when they let you out in 1946? Don't come back to the coast, friends warned. They're shooting out our windows at night. They won't sell us gas or fertilizer. So you came north to start again at 57 on your knees, sharecropping strawberries in another tar paper compound. Took 10 years to save enough to buy 10 acres of your own. Gaman, gaman, and gaman some more. Persevere in the face of hardship. Where did your faith go? Maybe your soul wore away in pieces too small to notice, until all that was left was efficiency. Washing the rice, goshi, 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 scrubbing the grains 3 times firmly, mentally plotting how to live without wasted motion. Chanto shinasai, do it right. How much suffering was enough? Your cactus still grows by the garbage can. So that was my mom's mom. This is about my dad's mom. Single rooms, daily, weekly, monthly. Of this. Don't touch the walls, my mother says. She gathers her skirts tightly. They will not brush the stamped metal wainscoting, painted institutional green and stained with grease from many hands. Bachan is waiting for us at the top of the stairs at the end of a long hall lined with bleak single rooms. She's a tiny woman, skinny as the broom she wields, as crooked as the teeth jammed any which way in her mouth. Yokata ne, she says when she sees us. Isn't it good? Namandam. I pay homage to the Buddha. And as she beams, it is good. All of it. The 10 kids she raised in this Skid Row hotel. Elderly and alcoholic residents who call her mama and eat her fruit. A nervous mother, a little girl with eyes like cameras. Nothing escapes the embrace of Bachan's compassionate view. One day, as she and I walk to the store, a stubble-faced man with watery blue eyes blocks our path. Hey, missus, how's it going? Fellows. Ah, Blanson, Mr. Brown, long time no see. She chuckles and bows, peers deeply into his eyes. How you doing? Okay? The man, well, you know, he ducks his head and squints hopefully. I'm trying, you know. Bachan pats his arm. You good man. Remember that? You be okay. The man nods, and then he notices me peeping from behind Bachan's purse. He begins to rummage frantically through his pockets. Does he have a gun, I wonder? Is he gonna rob us? Wait, got it. He pulls out a butterscotch candy from a sweat-stained pocket and holds it out to me. My knees lock in resistance as Bachan gently pushes me towards him. "Aren't you a little cutie?" the man says, bending down and wreathing me in the sickly sweet aroma of stale muscatel. I look at the candy. The wrapper is crushed and covered with pocket lint. "Don't touch, it's got germs," Mom would have said, but Mom's not here. I look at Bachan. Take it, she says. "Say thank you." "Thank you." I take the candy with the tips of my fingers, careful not to touch the man's hand. The man's red-rimmed eyes well up. He straightens up and says to Bachan, "You know, my little girl was about that age." Bachan nods. She holds his gaze for a long moment. "Sorry, I so sorry. You good, Mom." Mom would have made me throw out the candy, but I unwrap it and stick it in my mouth. It's so old that my teeth sink through a layer of gummy softness before hitting the clean crunch of butterscotch. I savor the sweetness as I follow Bachan down the street. All right, I think the universe is telling me I better not go too long. All right, oops, sorry. All right, so I will pass, how am I doing, Dan?
Oh, you got about 7-8 minutes.
Okay. All right, I'll do this then.
All right.
The year that bad became good. This is in the 80s. This is me. Each noon in the deep, dark canyons of finance, the sidewalk people await handouts from workers scrambling for quiche and latte and maybe some dry cleaning on their midday break. One woman is there and yet not there. She folds her legs in a yoga pose, soles upturned towards the sky, straight back, refusing support from the polished granite behind her, eyes closed in determined repose. So she doesn't have to see the gum-spotted pavement, the scant scattering of coins, and curious looks of strangers. Beside her, a talisman of better times, a briefcase, oiled leather with chipped initials. Every day she sits like an open sore, begging us to guess a story she can't bear to tell. As days blur, weeks and months, her trench coat grows dingy, the velvet ribbon in her gray hair droops, hangs in there. Though her husband died of AIDS and SSI only covers half the month's rent, Annie's smile moves the cops to smile back, and her landlord stores her bags for her when she has to sleep on the street. Annie's gums are so loose she pulls out teeth with her fingers, but Annie knows how to capture fun and share it with anyone who says hello. After lunch, I enter the cage that will shoot me up to my cubicle on the 24th floor. The elevator darkens when the CEO strides in. His wrestler's shoulders strain the seams of his Italian suit, but his 5 o'clock glower pins us against the stainless steel paneling. As we rise noisily higher, we know we're moving till we're nearing a stop. One day, her boss made her take his mistress for an abortion that morning, and then spend her lunch hour at Tiffany's choosing a diamond bracelet for his wife.
Oh.
Sorry about the anti-loose rag rug. This rag rug migrated to the kitchen when you could finally afford a green shag carpet for the living room you only used when company came. You always had cold chicken and pound cake for anybody who dropped in. Little did we heedless youths know how hard you worked, how hard you and Pops worked to piece together what you gave so freely to your kids and your friends. This rag rug is as beautiful as your rough brown hands that made it. Hands roughened from scrubbing floors and washing windows. All right, I lost the rest. It's probably in the, sorry about that. Ben, the pages that you took from me, they're probably in there, I'm sorry. God, I'm sorry. I know it's in here, I just, I thought I would try, remember, I've seen poets, they read and they throw the page on the floor. But
I know.
I am, okay, here it is, all right.
Good.
As rough as the hands that made the rug. Hands blistered by a hot iron or grease from a spattering pan as you cooked and cleaned for the white folks up the hill. This rug is as beautiful as the heels slopping out of your slippers, the wisps of cottony gray escaping your kerchief, the turkey neck skin beneath your jutting jaw. This rug is as beautiful as the rag bag in your back room, filled with ghosts of overalls and t-shirts, Sunday suits and party dresses, house coats, and the unseen presence of prison orange. Those odds and ends traced your family's passage out of the fields and into hope that leaked slowly like a sad balloon into a limbo land of corporate hypocrisy and police misconduct. Perhaps you shielded us too much, raised us in hopeful times, unprepared for a society that takes without thanks, in perpetual thirst for more, focused on the upward trajectory, blind to the toil and trouble you paid for each small gain. Your smile curtained eternities of pain. Your eyes could tell genuine from fake. Your rug is free of polyester dreams and polysyllabic nightmares. It's as honest as cotton picked by the ancestors, mud brown and indigo, old school plaids and funeral black, like your old wooden rosary worn from so much praying.
Wow. Thank you. Wow. Passionate compassion, you know what I'm saying? We're going to take like a 5-minute break or something like that. If you want to talk to me about the little anthology, we will talk about that, and I will take care of letting you know what it is and is not.
I sent you a question today. I can't get the answer in any, but how long is it?
20 minutes. I sent you an email.
Oh, you did? I didn't get it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's only 20 minutes. No matter what I do, you have 20.
Yeah, that's what she did.
Yeah.
By the way.
All right. Okay, so you want 3 copies? Yeah, right. Okay, so I'm going to do here, so I'm going to put bread. You want 3, and you gave me 10, so I only want to know. As soon as other people bring money, then I'll give it back. Okay, all right.
You get me on the list for tonight?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
As soon as you walked in. Thanks. Yes. Cash would be the best because that way it's simple. But you want.
I remember those days. I used to counsel. once a week.
This will be great.
So many friends. And you change for something?
Can you get hold on a second. Yeah, so she might have changed because I have to. How many bikes? So you need 12, right?
I'll try to bring some flyers.
That'll be really good. And then if you send me an email, some of the relevant things, I'll post them. Okay? All right. So you have 15, I can give you 20.
I read your bike. You're not just, you're,
Oh, no,
you're not sitting in some garage somewhere. You're right.
So all you need is 12. You have a 20. Oh, I see.
20 yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. If I give you this, and you give me 20, that means you've given me 20.
Oh, yes.
And 11, 12, 13, yeah, 12. There you go. So, all right. Okay, I'm high. All right.
Yeah.
Ding!
Yeah, so. Sorry about
Ding!
Yeah, it was really bad.
No, you were good.
Yeah, but it was bad when these.
Oh, yeah, but you know.
I used to staple them together, and then I thought I would try this loose thing.
Where you go like this and.
Anyway.
Yes, dear. Well, you have this here.
This is for the anthology.
Oh, you want how many? You want a copy?
Yeah.
It's only $3. Okay, so I'm gonna put you here.
All right, and then I'm not going to charge you for the $3 submission fee.
Ooh, see, I had the money in this. I had the money in an envelope. I gotta find the envelope now. I totally forgot the envelope. All right. Yes, dear.
So, what are we copies from you?
Yeah, I'm not. Well, yes, you're gonna tell me how many you want, and then by yes, okay. So if you want to, if you give me money now, then I don't have to ask for it later.
Yeah.
See, I'm mega bucks here.
Yeah.
Oh, so you want 4? Wait a minute.
2 copies. So
Two
$6.
$6. Oh, so I should give you a 5.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'll give you 5 back. 20. Look at that. I got a 20 in here. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Mecca.
No, you gave me 1 too many.
Oh, okay. So you gave 2, so you gave me 6.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
You can do math. Wow.
Well, you know, when I was a kid, I used to play around with math. My brother used to send me out for errands, and I'd make the change.
Right.
So he never counted it. And once I knew that,
You cleaned up.
free candy.
Are you taking orders this week too?
What do you mean?
For the,
Oh no, this is for the anthology.
yeah, are you accepting orders next week too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so it's not just tonight then?
No, tomorrow, the 10th is like hopefully the cutoff point. Hopefully.
Okay, cool.
Because I need to make sure I get it in and ordered and it comes
Okay.
back, or, you know, by the first.
Okay, cool. I'll bring cash next week.
I want 15. 15? Well, I get it. Okay, all right. Sam. 15 times 3 times. So it would be 45. Wow, you got it. See, I got some change here.
45.
Yeah.
I probably have 43.
Oh, here's 45. Give me some Thank you. All right, that's good. Wow. Woohoo! As they say in France.
How many did I order?
You ordered 15.
Oh, yeah, I should order some.
There we go. Huh, what a day.
Am I in it?
Yeah, you're in it. For crap's sake. As they say in France, for crap's sake. Good, you are. Yeah, I've got to put it in here.
Well, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, let me get 3.
Oh, you want 3? Yeah, you can, because I have one. So, wait a minute, Shem. 3 bucks. 3. It's a no profit thing. That's all. So that's 10. Wait a minute. 3, no, 7. And you for that 7. So Rob, 3, Antoinette, yeah, so 9, and you, 12. Okay, got it. Yeah. Okay. May 1st is the May 1st is the target. So I'm going to take all this and make one order, and then bring it all here. Jimmy is the future, so he said yes.
Put me down for 2.
Then I gotta give you 8.
You gotta give me 8. How much?
No, you 14. You take 2, 6, so you gotta give me 14. Here's 10.
That was good.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And you did put me down, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm putting your name down here. JJ, 2, 6.
I thought about on the list of readers.
Huh? Oh yeah, we can go on as soon as you want through. Yeah, it's a little lamp called Dirt Now. It's little, but it's the people here, and some people they wanted to do it, so we put it together. Took a lot more time to do it. But it's only $3 each. No, it can be next week. All right. It's a non-profit. All right. I might get some postage money out of it. Yeah, sure. I can send her hers, because I'll have a little bit left.
The workshop. What time?
I should have 112.
Third Saturday.
110. I have more than I'm supposed to have. Well, I wrote it down as I got it. Unless I maybe I added these wrong. Hallelujah, you're a bum. Hallelujah. Bum again. Hallelujah. Give us that.
I'm not sure. I might have I know the ones that don't
I think. Wow. I'm going to have breakfast tomorrow.
It's just whenever I get a chance to get close, I love it.
I agree.
Probably just recently.
I trust you.
Oh, he gave an extra number.
Yes. I used to work at
Yeah, I haven't sent mine.
Oh, is that the magazine?
Huh?
Is that the journal?
Yeah, this is for like who paid what. But we can do it next week is the deadline, so you don't have to worry about it.
Oh, yeah, you want me to pay now?
If you want, sure.
Sure.
That'd be great. I go out to breakfast tomorrow. Ritz Carlton. Get a donut. Have a cup of coffee. And the table that's next to me because they're not watching.
How much is it?
It's free each.
Great, that's what I thought. Good, yeah. That's a great price.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. And it's thin and it's small and it's all black and white. I think actually the raw price they say, all this price on the website is $2.50. And the shipping and handling all the other stuff, it comes to like $2.98 or something. Oh, you are, yeah, one and then. Wow, it's kind of like starting to feel real. No, the cover is color. I'm saying on the inside it's all black. Oh, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I can have your attention, please. No one listens to me. No one listens to me.
Oh. See, if I pitch a fit, then they listen. That's what I learned when I was 4 years old. You want to get mom's attention, you start crying. She comes, oh, what's wrong? Can I help you? I lost my candy. Oh, let me give you a chocolate. Thank you, Mom.
Nowadays it's called being presidential.
Yeah, presidential. Anyway, I just want to.
Can I see the list for a second? Thank you.
So, people gave me funds for this anthology, and I want to double check the numbers. So, if you're here and you gave me funds, so Britt Peter gave. Is Britt here? Britt? Well, he said 3. Jane had 4. Shizway had 1. Tommy Avagolameka had 2 anthologies, right? 2 anthologies? I'm just checking how many you ordered. 2, thank you. And then Sanderell 15, Antoinette 4. Antoinette 4, right?
Yes,
Okay, and then Rob 3. Rob 3, thank you. Shem 3. Thank you. And JJ 2. Okay. And then Buford has Uno, right? Okay, then someone gave me extra money. I don't know where it came from.
All right, so like a few bucks or something, I can put it in my pocket and have breakfast tomorrow. All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming back to the second show. Our last word, the opener and closer of the second half. Julian, come forward, please, and show them what it is.
All right.
Come on, I don't hear the applause out there. What's wrong with you people?
All right.
Shame to be a drunk.
So this one's called These Pages.
All right.
1. These pages are my sacred sanctuary, tethered together to render this diary my private cemetery, where I hide and bury every vile and wary part of me, every bruised and broken artery guarding me from this world. Every tear I refuse to shed, every smile I'm too shy to show, every fight I've ever fled, and every place I wish to go to. But when I suddenly see your smile, I am violently reminded these lines that seem to trace this page fly not within a mile of these lines I see silently trace your face, or the grace so hastily displayed and brazenly embodied in your body. And when I am lullabied by your lively laugh, I am emphatically wrapped in these rhapsodies that I receive, enchanting me with their do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, te's, your symphony of sympathy, an emotional masterpiece that's complete with a full chorus of coursing serotonin, congregating and commiserating to create in me some sort of strangely scintillating yet incinerating Dr. Seussian simulation of sensationally serene and peaceful blissfulness, soothing like the subtle gentleness of sunshine kisses skipping softly across my sequoia skin. 3. I'll be honest, I don't want a lot. I just want to be the thought in the back of your head that raises the hair on the back of your neck. Fuck death, fuck the Grim Reaper, fuck Freddy Krueger. I want to be the only thing to constantly haunt your dreams. I want to passionately stimulate your angelic spirit with the respect that it deserves until my devilish lips become numb and silver tongue splits into specks. I want to make you wet with my words until you forget all that hurts. 4. I don't sing much anymore. But if I were to sing you a song in all seriousness, I solemnly swear I would serenade your senses by singing such stock, stale, and insipidly sad, sappy songs that celebrate and venerate my vividly voluptuous vulnerability. I would sing each note encapsulated in suspense with both hands tightly pressed against both sides of my lips because every time they split, nothing but my foot comes out. 5. I really don't want much. I just want someone to trust. Someone to cuddle up with and to touch. Someone to snuggle up with and to hug. Someone to just have fun with and enjoy our time with. Someone to connect with and to just spend our time with. But most of all, I just like to know if we can maybe come to an agreement or some kind of an arrangement to try to stifle my derangement by trying to find a replacement for these deeply inked pages that have silently been changing into my asylum full of anguish, where I silence every languid, pain-riddled part of me, every marred and mended artery guarding me from this world.
Thank you so much. We'll be back at the end. Rob, then looks like Johnny, McLaughlin, Buford, the Cursive Writer, Shem, Mitch, Allen. But Rob is now. Rob, be good, Rob.
I did this once before here, but it's one of the maybe the most restless piece that I have, and also some of my favorite people were not here when I did it before, and they are here tonight. So this is called Dolphin. Last night I dreamed a dolphin cuddled me, jumped in my bed, nuzzled my head, as if to say, this one's okay, I'll lay you down tonight. My dream lover wasn't there to see the dolphin loving me, even in dreams, my dream lover's a fantasy. No one there, no one to care, and lay me down tonight. All our itches unscratched, all these wounds unpatched, all these holes unfilled, all our longings unstilled. I can't fix you, you can't heal me. We've lost our tribe, no community. But I'd call it okay if you just say, I'll lay you down tonight. So many reasons we turn away. Love should be a feather, love should be played. Can you say no when you hear someone say, please lay me down tonight.
Such a nice, polite version. Who is he next? Oh, Buford. Oh, no, Johnny. Johnny McLaughlin. You're new, aren't you? Okay, he's new, ladies and gentlemen. Just show him what that means. I don't hear it. I don't hear it. Come on, let's go. Come on, this guy's never seen you before. We'll go home and have nightmares. Thank God. Woo! Is that McLaughlin up there? McLaughlin!
It's first from Cormorants. Cormorants sit on log-laid buoys, orange, yellow, double crest, bill hooked downward, blackbird. Wings outstretched to greet the morning sun. Facing away to the south, one lifts tail of feathers and spews out arch of white ship. And, I've been thinking lately, not really about anything particular, but that I've just come up inadequate in all things, particularly those things that require diligence and hard work, the kind of hard work that requires the emptying of mind, the girding up of the loins, or any number of other phrases that imply that I'm going to get down to business. But the unfortunate thing is that I have not been getting down to business, but I've been thinking about on my inadequacies, which I forgot to tell you includes more things than an absence of diligence, but an addiction to all things that are cheap and bad, namely alcohol, dope, pot, not heroin. I think I'm allergic to opiates. And caffeinated beverages. And by saying this, I want to acknowledge that caffeine is not a real vice unless it is taken in serious excess, like the excessive way I use it, being about a cup every hour of every day, which itself causes a nervous disposition and a tendency to jump from one thought to another, and for me to stay up into the late hours of the morning in a kind of incurable insomnia that has occasionally led these waking hours to extend over the course of several days to the point that my thoughts become doughy or possibly jelly-like, wobbling into the incoherent, which usually isn't a problem if I get enough sleep. But in these instances, they cause great emotional pain until they're finally quieted by the inevitable necessity of sleep. And this one is automated. Because algorithms write poetry that seems good, because it is not good, because the world is crowded, because mammals raise their young, because programs don't feel, because programs imitate feeling, because the end is not yet, because the imitation of life, because of Deep Blue, because of ore miners, because of organ miners, because you didn't reach the Walla Walla, because you shot 7 buffalo, because you could only carry 100 pounds, because you left the hide, because you took the tongue, because you could have traded for axles, because you're a poor farmer, because you should have just settled in Idaho, because Andy died, because of dysentery, because of snowstorms, because of pepperoni on tombstones, because the river is 5 feet deep, because Ford, because axles are dying, because everything is going electric, because this poem will be in a car commercial, because axolotls are dying, because the newts will inherit the earth, because computers write poetry. Get ready, get ready. Shouldn't have gone where expected. Ad-hole cost 20 minutes. Temptation spreading, 50 miles over tree and dale. The smoke hazy, exalted, the vehicle accelerated. Get ready. Ore on Olympus, tin and Tabor, rooftops of the world, rare earth flavor. Antelope Island, lost her saber. Get ready, get ready. The world has no corner. They have given no quarter. Giants, arms now folded, holding their notice. Tweedledee and dumb. Get ready. What's lost is found. Seek and y'all find. Hidden true love's dreams out of sight. Get ready, get ready.
Thank you. There we go. Give him a round, a newbie. to Buford Bunton. He knows this. And then we got the cursive writer, Shem, our mini feature, Mitch, Alan, Jane. It's like Miguel. Is Miguel here? Where's Miguel? Oh, okay. Yeah, you're not new though. We know you. Okay, I was thinking it was a new person. Never mind. Sorry about that. I'm old. I forget. Buford.
This is called No McDonald's for Me. You need to get a job to put yourself through college, Buford. My father was insistent, so I went by McDonald's, the one that was walking distance from my house, which was also my mother's and father's, my grandparents, 2 of my sisters, as well as my 2 brothers' abode. I had a job, one that I'd had all through high school during the summers, umpiring baseball games all over the city for the Mobile, Alabama Recreation Department. But that wasn't enough for my father, and was not enough for me, as it turned out, with college women in my immediate future and gas the 8 miles each way from my house to school. I started college jobless, really. As it turned out, though, a woman who was a member of the family church was the director of a playground not far from where we all lived. Buford, there's an opening at Navco Playground. You'd be great there, she told me. In addition to knowing this woman from church, I umpired baseball games at her playground. So I was hired to take packed cars of children and adolescents to play football, softball, and track all over the city to games and meets. I even coached my brother on my basketball team. He was a star, a dead-eye shooter who was a perennial all-star in baseball too. All through college and about a month past my graduation, I carried and cheered on young men as well as young women in track all over the sweltering or cold, rainy city, depending on the season. I paid my college tuition in this way and slept in a single bed perpendicular and parallel to my 2 brothers in their respective beds. Every morning, our father came into the room and announced, "Working boys, college boys, and high school boys, it's 6:30. That's really how I talk, and not even, that's even an urban version of it. Okay, so up went our older brother John's shade at the head of his bed, and he began reading the newspaper. That is, when he wasn't too depressed to work. But that's another story.
Yeah. We presented. All right, the cursive writer is coming back here. Give him a round.
Dudamon might be joining me also.
Okay.
So.
Just so that people know, the keynote always comes back to do their own piece after introducing the evening with somebody else. There we go. All right.
Good. It's good to have something behind me. High desert of mind. Sitting in the high desert of mind, observing, masked, anonymous, living in a mental burqa only to see through a narrow viewer. Turned off to the Homo sapien who needs everything but itself, wherever looks out. Some say narrow view, some say focus. Dances of the universe as galaxies spin, crash into each other, new galaxies. Popping champagne bottle where each bubble a new universe. Worse sentiment, the shaking out of things, building life from shake, 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 sanctified shake. Gives new life, hoping to get it right, not through might. But hope does nothing but hope. Let's not do the rope-a-dope. Let's just get it right. Sitting in the high desert of mind, observes, takes notes, draws conclusions, rightly, wrongly. Sitting in the high desert of mind. You shine brightly.
You shine brightly, but you're dead. Seem alive, but you're quite gone. Seem angry, the angry dead. Search for the life, but hate life here. Why do we think finding other life we would consider them other? Kill them like good Homo sapiens we are. In the eyes, you're death. No life there. Only black and white movies of bad film noir running on loop. Face void as when body dies. Death mask framed by morticians to show all emotions, no emotions. Oh yes, no horror. Putting the best face on your dead body for all to see what they want to see. Body dead? You shine brightly. Last piece called Crushed Arteries. Market Street, main artery to the neighborhood, city San Francisco, returning in her veins to join other arteries off Market to the other hoods, Seven Hills, valleys to shore, flowing. These arteries have been crushed, veins and collapsed. Stints must be put in, city buried. Buildings leaning towards rather than upwards. Collisions of people on devices, sidewalks backing up from collisions may need to take alternative routes. Major trip up at Gary Powell, Buddha, Paul, Jesus, Mary turned into sky gods aren't helping here. All these beliefs, philosophies go out the door for money as devices help more and more collisions happen. Hallelujah! Hallelujah! Praise the cash! Pass those stocks. The price of devices, medicine going up along with profits. The old life still has pulse. Not all community is dead. Better keep it strong. Needs new growth. Solidarity is about the spring. She's still not murdered. She kept us safe in the village. Her roots have grown. There are ugly, ugly forces out there to kill her again. So we had all better put up or shut up. The seventh generation is fighting back. Time to get off this injurious addictions, fossil uranium fuels. You know, Earth's shit. We're killing ourselves, each other for their profit. You get sick, die. After all, you're going to die anyway. Why not be rich as you die? Our current road is a running off a cliff, as native people did to the bison. Only we're the buffalo. Buffaloed.
Buffalo. Thank you. Thank you, Dudamon. Dudamon. All right, great. And now, a special event. We always have a mini feature, and our mini feature is now us ready to go. Shem takes the mic, and then you have Micah, Alan, James, Miguel, and Greg, but we got Shem right now for these times.
Okay, so I have a long one that's like 2 minutes too long, so I'm gonna do 3 other ones instead.
All right.
And it's they're kind of like a funk trilogy. For some reason, the first one is called Embellishing on the Funk, the second one's called Noodling on the Funk, and the third one's called Apocalypsing on the Funk. So I don't know why. Let's start with Embellishing on the Funk. Type of Jewish cat always jumping to conclusions on your behalf. Hyper-spastic, Budinsky, Arnold Horseshack, type of cat. Man, his hand must be tired from constantly holding it up in the air, finishing your sentences, rearranging your thoughts for you. A get under your skin type of clever, don't even seem to care whether his services were solicited or not. Can't hold back, just flirty, blurts it out like he thinks his knee-jerk brain reaction to being within earshot of any conversation is kind of cute. Type of cat hops on your train of thought like a hobo, and all of a sudden he's wearing the conductor hat and calling the shots. Don't just jump in like that, even if you do know what I'm about to say. Maybe I ain't even trying to know yet, and you just lock me into your overzealous intuitive leaps about what my next thought ought to be. Even if you did have your finger on the pulse of what my is. You're still gonna have to put that shit on pause and just let me handle my business, Mr. Speedy Gonzalez-Berg. This is not a race, even if it might could be about it. Seeing as you one of those murky in-between type of cats, pale skin but got those sleepy eyes and swarthy highlights, always strategically sitting on the edge of a fence post in between 4 different backyards. Always gotta be coming with the smart remarks and the quick comebacks, got that look in your stance like you're ready to pack up and leave at a moment's notice. But at the same time, throwing those eye darts like you just come up with more than 3 different arguments about the exceptional nature of your circumstance and how you deserve at least 2 more chances. Just let me chew my cud a while and muddle my way through this at my own pace. Give me some space to place my meanderings in context. You got me so contorted, convoluted, and consternated, I might just have to get off the pot. Flow interruptus got my mind so constipated the condom caved in, type of shit get a convex for real. Deal me another hand, pour me another drink, bum me another cigarette. I need some time to contemplate the state of race relations and the nature of regret. Not so much everything I touched that went wrong, more like everything I dreamed about, wished I could have done before, but didn't get to before they put me back in the clink for just rehearsing on being a free person, percolating on the current situation. Send my condolences to the contortionist trying to Houdini his way out of a straitjacket of Simon. Ain't you got another joint you can case slick? And I put him in his place adjacent to the next man's servitude to ruminate on the taste of his own hubris. A loose-lipped Judas, able to slow walk with a cane and spin a fable fast, embellishing on the funk, Talmudic-like, scholarly in his erudition. But your average run-of-the-mill Zophar can only go so far, blow so hard with a 2-bit shofar and a shark-skin suit, silver pockets in the line to hide the loot, and the mushroom clouded his face again. Trigger happy, and that's the name of the horse he rode in on. It keeps falling off. All right. State of woe is me, or noodling on the funk. Middling mesomorphs, metatester metallurgic meddlers meandering among spare part mega monster bodega entrails, spiking digital micro nano stochastic spasm spandrels, reified virtuosic virtuality relic end of life service renderings, cyber dustbins chock full of Christmases past, hairpin harpoons, rustily plied upon, piled up on salt crusty pent up coastal pontoon penmanships, inflatable state of mind over matter of fact delivery, quivering glossolalia, horizontal entelechy sightline of frontal lobular, dawns like dawning dawns like watership syndrome comforters for fluffy bunnies. Audacious referendum random set speechifiers, codified enchantment, neuromantically inclined signposter boredom, designer finders feet payers, pliant cyber splicer genome hacker wannabe stumble bumble be-ins, petulant succulent suck up succubus desert veranda soliloquies, overreaching arrogance, parabolically ambulating indolent contingency, cinder reality, rub neck lace, bouncy, checkered past portal, charming principality, bank ruptured servitude, shattered slipper fitter, crystal ideal, slivery shards, free-floating state of woe is me, stolidly solipsistic in its resinous recidivist transinstances, erstwhile refurbishment attempts deemed possibly rectifiable but no longer certifiably redeemable, post-mortem Wittgensteinian latter-day gamesmanship, wordily waddling and waiting in the dark, trudging through paved-over creek-bed stream of conscious nests, lurid tongue-wagging, liquid lagoonary, spittle-thick, lickety-split, salt-lick, looky-loo likes and emojis, wistful sail will-o'-the-whispers, willing swill swallowers, holographic hallowed hollows, wholly hollowed out, mahalo, halo, hellos, unmoored from their signifiers, anchored free for all, defrayed, defenestrated, discombobulated, discontinuously decentered, daring, daedalus distances, done in, decomposed, dripping, daemon dewdrops, dung beetle, delightedly dangling participials, wispy tendrils, non-sequiturally florid foundling, freight train of thought, bubble up from rakish, mucky muck, mud, flatbush, hovel, haven, heaven sense, heaving, too many 2-bit to Betsy's and itsy-bitsy bite-sized pieces. And how many minutes I got? Two. I got ish. Two-ish. I got one. Okay, and then the final in the funk trilogy, apocalypsing on the funk. All right. Grandiloquent mendicants, megalomaniac transients, altruistic narcissists, interest-seeking, self-leavening breadwinners, high-fidelity, ingratiating, state-of-the-artful dodgers, blurry, ink-blot, ledger-mildewed, melancholy narcoleptics, dyspeptic, dropsy-turvy, dovetail, back-current gliders, sluggish dervishes, sloughed-off, serpentine whirlwind, aching backspin, voices left hoarse and riderless, godless mystic impossibility addicts, accursed shareholders, spunky chasm spelunkers, knocked up and swelling with unknowable inevitables, Rims spent and spokeless on forgotten go-kart, ghost axles, axes askew, terra inferma, intemperate, temperature rising, jobless lumpen spandrel masses, washed up shoreline, garbage truckers, indigent, sword-swallowing bandersnatchers, intransigent, Luddite, sneak thief, loan sharking transactors, huckster, hustlers, plumb out of marks, and angles and bobbles, rotting beast entrail, happy maggot detritus eaters, finally freed from economic usefulness constraints, superfluous and unexploitable. Yea, and the meek shall inherit the great toxic soup dumpling, and the ruling elites with no one left to lord over and nothing left to do in, shield themselves behind gilded cages, designated and delineated by algorithmetric predictability, and the children of the biodome certainty pod castration chambers, drawn down and in by an ache for an encounter with some sort of realness, slip through forgotten service corridors and tunnels, escape out into the open, join the so-called garbage dump people of the wasteland who toil and struggle and strive together in anarchic extended families attendant to the nature of mutuality and co-creation, and survive this 6,000-year blip called civilization.
That's Shem, our minion of the evening. A future teacher, actually, if I remember my schizophrenic delusion. Mitch? Give her a nice round as she comes up. We got Alan and Jane as well, Paul, Greg,
So a quick announcement and then I'll read. So I officially put together some of my short stories into zines. I wrote stories for a while and I've never tried to print them, but I've decided to start doing that. So I printed some zines. They're stapled kind of awkwardly, which means that if people want to donate to the zine fund, I can make more zines and learn how to staple them better.
Yeah.
That's a badass thing.
But they're all unique, see? They're all unique.
That's the shit. Good for you.
Thank you. All right, so I'm gonna, so I have two. One's called Final Piece and one's called She Died in Paris. And I'm gonna read from She Died in Paris. I remember the day I sat at the vanity looking at my teenage self, trying to find her in my features. They said I looked just like her, a twin, a replica. As I stared at the face that they said resembled hers, I wanted to see what they saw. My forehead, my eyebrows, my eyes, my cheekbones, my nose, my lips, my chin, and the way my hair fell to my shoulders, pulled behind ears that they insisted were her ears. My fingers touched every inch of my face as I stared back at the girl, hoping not to see her in me. I didn't see her. The face looking back at me in the mirror was mine. The face was nothing like hers, and I was happy for that. I didn't want to look like her. I didn't want to resemble the face full of anger and hatred that was never recognizable to me. I hated when she showed me off in front of her friends, calling me her replica and her double, playing with my hair in front of them, gazing lovingly at me, an actress playing a role in which she was a doting, devoted, kind-hearted mother. I didn't want to resemble her because I never knew which role she would play. In our small apartment, full of memories of her and reminders of how it was in the past and I was the future, she always played the same role with me, a mother who said I was never good enough and never would be.
Wow.
I sympathized with her. She gave up her dreams and goals to raise me with the hopes that I would make up for the things that she didn't have or lost, trying to juggle me in one hand and who she was in the other hand, and always dropping the latter. Me, I always stayed in her hand, especially as I got older and needed her more. I was the one thing she could not let go of, and she had hope for me. I could be the things that she wasn't. I could live the life that she wanted. I could fulfill the dreams that she wanted to fulfill. I could be the person who she wanted to be. I imagined my mother sitting on the sidelines, cheering me on, encouraging me to be the best that I could be, and telling me that I was her dream, her joy, and her gift. It never happened like that. The dreams that she had for me were like the dreams that I had for her. They crashed into each other and exploded into pain, heartbreak, and rejection on both our parts. Sitting at the vanity, I imagined it was covered with pictures, medals of victories, championships, scores, friendship, and love. But the vanity was as empty as the soul of the person who sat in front of it. The only thing that graced the vanity was the image staring back at me, the broken-hearted girl who only wanted her mother to love her behind closed doors. Thank you.
Hear about the book?
Thank you.
She'll sign them. Here. All right. Alan Harris is coming in. Give him a round. We got Jane, Miguel, and Greg. The mighty Alan Harris, as we like to say.
I'm a little man. A small, insignificant, minuscule, microscopic speck of a man. I'm the beard stubble on a hologram. I'm a dead guy's imaginary friend. I'm steam that has phoned it in. I am the waste product of a fictional character from a novel that no one has ever read. I'm a nowhere man, I'm less than zero, I'm nothing. I get my protein from dead celebrities. I wander through minefields looking for an ice machine. I sit at the back of the bus with skateboard gypsies while ordained chain-smoking cellular carnivores hover above us, asking God to bless this closed-circuit mobility, which each night escorts us back to our pastel poverty, where empty swimming pools try to steal our souls, and adolescent billboards spin around in circles, throwing their acid flashback coloring books at each other, and scaring my frail spinster of a television set whose anxiety disorder is manifested in electronic pulses which blurt out images of robots who go to the gym and who could stand in the middle of the apocalypse and not get their hair mussed, and who have air conditioners where their souls should be, and who are locked into a synchronized sterility as they push an agenda of synthetic snooze alarm carnality. And who are living proof that if you smirk too much, your face will just stay like that. They never blink as they tell of buildings that are frightened and of grains of sand that whisper prayers, and of the shifting perspectives of an hysterical ant farm in which sirens are redundant. They make me afraid to leave my apartment for fear of tripping over the stealth penises and evangelical carbohydrates of the celestial wholesaler. So I push through flashes of backlit reality, searching for punctual poets who will give me 5 minutes. But all I can find are politicians who smell like Mel Gibson and who remind me that America is on its 8th sequel. Well, everywhere I go, TV reminds me that the only ones who matter are the edited and the shaped and the hyped, who revel in LA freeway suicide ecstasy, bark at liberal seamen, and use world leaders to pick their teeth. While I am just a consumer whose raw footage existence is of no importance because it's trumped by mutant Bible study partisans who just want to blow shit up. So I get in my car and I drive north out of town at 110 per, leaving behind the patriotic bath towels and the Orwellian stand-up comedy and the perpetually winking punk rock and the kindergarten revisionists and the stuttering peace signs and the questions that breed like rabbits and the rabid thuggish mental patients with book deals and the hordes of effervescent genetically modified voters and the sad and the scared and the beaten and the bloody and the dead. I drive and move back and forth from lane to lane, trying to cross the line between personal rage and public outrage, while the occasional curious helicopter reminds me that the only real power is in privacy. Finally, I reach the desert, where the only sign of life is a motel, which greets me with a bed and a bath and a radio that only plays songs from the past. I lay down and close my eyes, trying to think of ways to save the other planet Earth. But I can't because my head hurts. And all I want to do is fall asleep, curled up next to someone who agrees with me.
her around as she comes up here. Wonderful poet. And then you got Miguel, Greg, Amy. There
Thanks,
you go.
This poem is about when I moved to San Francisco, 1963, which seems about 100 years ago now, but anyway. 150. That first year in San Francisco, we walked the streets not quite believing we were here. City lights, the library, it was paradise. The next summer we broke up, divorced, and I met a friend of Jim's, Marietta, coming out as a lesbian. I hardly knew what a lesbian was, and had some strange excursions that summer. We visited a very thin girl standing in a bleak sunlit doorway on Howard Street, back when south of Market meant south of Market. We ate tuna salad sandwiches at Mike's Pool Hall. One sunny August day, Marietta climbed up on the roof of her Kearny Street apartment and wanted to jump. I convinced her not to. What a joke. I could have jumped off the roof too. I just knew better. I had a purpose, to be an artist. From Marietta's point of view, half the people in San Francisco were lesbian. Either they were and they knew it, or they were and they didn't know it. But what did I know? I started to wonder if I, a baton twirler in high school, had lesbianic tendencies, as Marietta put it. Luckily for me, school started that fall, and the whole summer dropped away. I was possessed by painting, and I loved it. Thank you.
Hey, Jane, read it. Yeah, Oh, Miguel. Miguel, give him a round as he comes up. We haven't seen him. And then we got Greg, Amy, Keegan, and like that. There we go. You're on there.
Reading three things. So, first one is I wrote for my friend. It's titled "Stop Being a Whore and Crying About It." The dog was drowned in its sluttery. Incognizant, it howled woes of brokenheartedness. This is about Restless, the theme. Atop a hill, I gazed out into the landscape in front of me. The morning dew gently settling upon the world. I watched the doe grazing by a tree, unaware, peaceful, and innocent. It was startled by a sudden sound, like a Palestinian child surprised by the festive bombs sent by neighbors. Beyond the landscape is an evening somewhere. Oh, how I wish to be there in sweet slumber. This one I wrote for my holier than thou vegan roommate. The world is beautiful, absent priggish eyes. Sanctimonious words cloud the skies. Sententious rhetoric levels the groves. Radicalization leavens the loaves.
Wow. Thank you, Miguel. Mr. Greg Pond. Then we have Amy, Keegan, JJ, Harold, Julian coming up.
Oh my goodness, look who's up there.
It's Greg Pond, isn't it?
It's Greg Pond.
Looks like Greg Pond. Wait a minute, just lower this thing down here for you. Is that good? Mr. Smooth. Okay. Oh no, he's not Mr.
There's
Smooth.
been rumors.
I know.
Stop. All right. Seeing you in the shadows. And this is on the theme. As daylight sways from snow and dim street lamps lose their glow, morning coming home to open arms that keep me warm. As daylight fades from view, the sky turns to ink. Alleys are hidden in the shadows, the chill, the restless hearts wandering with snow-blinding eyes. when seeing is only half believing. Restless. Restless on the dark side of my pillow, deep in the middle when the hours are single digits, hoping that soon the man in the moon will slide under the sheets and count some sheep with me. I'm at the brink and begin to fall, past drowsy through punch drunk, sort of drifting off to maybe no sleep at all. Then the next thing I know, it's almost daybreak. The alarm clock calls and now I'm wide awake, but barely able to crawl out of bed or scratch my head after a night of wanting more but getting less rest. Blinded by the light of morning, tired, yawning, wired, restless.
Great fun. And you read from your book? Did you read from your book?
No, this is from
Oh, okay. Well, you should have shown them.
Oh, this is from afterward.
There you go. His book. One of his books. Amy's coming up. Give her a nice round, please. Let's go.
Okay. Hopefully you won't get restless listening to this. It's a little bit of poetry, a little bit of nonfiction combined.
All right.
We do not know much about the ancestors, only what we feel at the bottom of a cave. Like Peshmel, one of a few dozen caves left dotted with our earliest art in the south of France. Before you enter, the English-speaking docent, a student of anthropology, working her summer break, walks you through a video of exactly what you will see in the cave. The CO2 of tourists degrades the cavernous walls, so your time down there is limited. Use it wisely. The tour runs under an hour. Take your sweater and tennis shoes. The sediment can be slippery. There are 7 or 8 pieces to see, but there's a good chance you'll get distracted by the magnificent beauty of life underground. The world is vast beneath the surface, cold, damp, a different kind of dampness than my bathroom back home. There is no mold here. The cold air hangs on my neck, knowing this place is not like any other. A man from Albuquerque asks, "Did they really sleep down here?" No, the docent responds with a small smile. There are no records, of course, but it's believed early man took to the caves for spiritual experience. I look to the stalactites and mites, centuries of water-moving bits of sand, and see it. Church, temple, mosque, the sacred home for man to meet divine. It is magic, the small red hands and outlines of primitive woman dotting the walls of spiritual retreat. This is what home should feel like, where I reach for sanctuary, but we must move on. The tour is nearly over. Standing in the gift shop, wondering what to buy my father, the words spiritual experience rest heavy in my bones. My father, half Spanish, half Yugoslavian, was born Catholic. Like many boys raised during the Second World War, living life without a father, he rebelled. Nuns wrapped his fingers. He was expelled, repeated 3rd grade, and then burned down the garage playing mad scientist. He left the Catholic Church not long after his first marriage, keeping God, spirituality, and most importantly, Catholics far away from my upbringing. I knew nothing of God, the ancestors, or spiritual experience. Church was for funerals, the occasional baptism, and that one time I took the host without asking, which apparently is not kosher when you are not baptized. The church was just a place, and the body of Christ in the form of a cracker was just a thing. There was no context until I went to Acoma. I was 9 or so when my parents dragged me to visit potters on the Acoma Pueblo, just outside of Albuquerque, New Mexico. On top of a mesa, a mountain with no peak, there was a church. Just like any other pueblo, a crucifix broke through the skyline, an eerie reminder of destruction veiled as the work of God. The room was simple, chairs, maybe pews, whitewashed adobe walls, red luminaries flickering. The air was cooler in this little cavern, but it hung sticky on my skin. There was no peace in this place. My tiny heart grew uneasy as they began to tell the story of how the church came to be. One day they arrived, strangers here with things unknown, who speak of God, not land, air, fire, or water, stories in tongues. Shackled we become, there is no real choice. For those who refuse to carry dirt up, up, up the topless mountain, first lose a hand, then a second, carrying up, up, up. For the Lord, refuse again, lose a foot, and then another. Red rivers built this tiny house of God. Like many stories of missionaries, manifest destiny, and the bones beneath the foundations of America, There were no real choices for the people of Acoma, build the church or lose a hand. And yet many did refuse. No matter their choice, their home, their sanctuary, their spirituality was severed. I thought I was gonna vomit, and some stranger told this story. Images of bloodied hands littered the floor of the space I no longer deemed as sacred. History began to haunt me. Confused, my parents fed me a snow cone. It was blue raspberry. That night I grew sick with nightmares and pooped green. Worried for my health, they'd forgotten about the snow cone, but I never will.
Oh.
How could my people, the Spaniards, my father's bloodline, Bobeda, meaning crypt or bell tower, rape this land, murder these people, and call it an act of God? What were we thinking? God creates dreams like windows in houses we open and close with breath of fresh air until things grow musty and we forget, searching for lost Christmas ornaments hidden under the bed. Where has God gone? When God is with me, I'm invincible, but when I forget, the undertow drags me down to where bubbles turn to glass, shattering the skyline. In a world upside down, for a moment I forgot, I am God too. I've lived my young adult life in fear of people, their power, and what the great ancestors would say about what we've become. Always taking, leaving broken people and places behind. There's not a reservation without problems and neglect from the American people, the foreigners to this land. Ashamed by my heritage, I wonder if we will give in. Give up the need to be right, the want to take what was never anyone's to begin with. Land is land, man is man. We are just visitors here. And our tour is short, deep down in the caves of early man, where we can just be one with the divine, however we see them. Maybe it was simpler for the ancestors seeking refuge in the caves of Peshmerga, a time before fighting for anything other than survival, before the need for truth to be set in scripts and blood, back when we knew what mattered: experience, truth, transcendence, growth, heart, art. There's a tree marked at the entrance, unassuming oak, skinny like its brothers, just before the gift shop, a crudely chiseled stairs. Careful not to slip on watery sediment of sacred human history, where things were not so much things, but the INGs of being. You make your way down the stairs, and as air settles unexposed to our trivial of which shoes are best suited for the south of France, at the bottom you look up to the underbelly of an oak, the umbilical cord descending the depths of our mother. We are home, as the world is no longer upside down. Glad you brought your jacket. It's cold down where we matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Keegan. Is Keegan here? Oh, Keegan is not here, so then we'll have to go to the next person then. That would be JJ. And then, huh? Yes, but Keegan is not here, I'm just double checking. All right. Try to watch your time so we can go and get everybody in. There we go, Mr. JJ.
Well,
You're
hello.
framed perfectly, by the way.
Hello, everyone. So this must be the Die Hard group.
Yeah, when I die, it'll be hard.
My name happens to be JJ Rush, okay? So it's extra. Read all about it. The next president of the Americas may be Obrador of Mexico. Incidentally, I do have some books on sale. The piece I'm going to do for you this evening is Mahogany Moon. I'm of the opinion that the more unusual cosmic events happen most often on Thursdays than any other day of the week. Can any of you agree with me on that? As a victim and living witness to one outrageous cosmic turmoil, I'm moved to share that painful episode with you. And if you feel I'm worthy of your sympathy, may the gods be with you too. It will remain a landmark day, that Thursday afternoon, in an orange and purple tinted sky. My eyes saw the most obscenely beautiful object mine eyes had ever seen. That image was a new mahogany moon. And for the longest time, it only smiled on me. You see, a woman stood there tall to me once. Now I must confess she did appear shorter to me over time. Yet the prospects of long happiness and the joyful activities of peace were as promising as a blushing sun could deliver, while earthquakes and typhoons were hiding on the other side of the world. My lady, tall as the moon, put the entire Milky Way at my disposal. I became the field marshal to a living dream. And of course, I was down with that. And soon after, when she gave me the keys to her heart for all eternity, there was no turning back. That's only to say, no one could tell me any differently. Surely some good friend could have warned me of the dark clouds in the forecast. But no matter what our differences were, given a chance, I would have forgiven her for whatever she was guilty. Having never forgotten her sweetness, her ways, and unbelievable kindness. The Thursday morning of impact came under a torrentially raining sky. And surely by a sorcerer's help, my woman, tall as the moon, slapped me awake in a tirade of jealous fury. With this unsuspected and reckless rage, she stripped the flesh from my heart not once, but twice, making it difficult, if ever I would mend. Cast into the Sargasso Sea of lost lovers, never had I so passionately loved, and never had I been hosted so well. Mightily I struggled against being swept away by the undercurrent, and only by divine grace did I survive. That cruel vixen, tall as the moon, had without doubt received her excessive retaliation fee. So I thought. My calculation drastically changed under the next shoe that fell. Every Thursday afternoon, that beautiful mahogany moon returned begrudgingly to remind me. New tools I'll put in place for the next celestial intervention. A gypsy said I should look for a dolly with white tail feathers, pulling a treasure chest behind. But between you and I, any sweetie will do that will help me push on through this storm. What that woman did to have a way with me, I promise never to tell anyone. A small sample of my secret I'll give to you, and it shouldn't hurt anybody. So here it is. That woman turned me into a strawberry twister. And the only thing missing is a glamorous sugar dish, so much I'm in need of. That's the reason why I'm still searching the sky and hoping to capture alive just one more dream. Thank you.
Howell and Dudemon and Julian coming back to close us out. Be mighty and respected. Be worthy, as we like to say. Be worthy. Is erudite? Would erudite be a good word?
Erudite.
Okay. Huh?
Erudite.
Erudite. Sorry.
Erudite might be a mineral.
Well, you know. How do you say it again? Erudite?
Erudite.
Erudite.
If
You.
you
Erudite.
must say it. Yeah,
Erudite.
sure.
Thank you. I like being corrected in public. I'm a Catholic.
Bright Star by John Keats. Bright star, would I were steadfast as thou art, not in lone splendor hung aloft the night, but watching with eternal lids apart, like nature's patient, sleepless eremite, the moving waters at their priest-like task of pure ablution round earth's human shores, or gazing on the new soft-fallen mask of snow upon the mountains and the moors. No, yet still steadfast, still unchangeable, pillowed upon my fair love's ripening breast, to feel forever its soft swell and fall, awake forever with a sweet unrest, still to hear her tender taken breath, and so live ever, or else swoon to death. I think there's a little bit of feedback there.
Okay.
Let me move back a tad.
Just that. There you go.
I want to try to do another one if
Yes, that's fine. You have time.
This is from the Preludes by T.S. Eliot. The winter evening settles down with smell of steaks in passageways. 6 o'clock. The burnt-out ends of smoky days. And now a gusty shower wraps the drying scraps of newspapers from vacant lots. The showers beat on broken blinds and chimney pots, while at the corner of the street a lonely cab horse steams and stamps. And then the lighting of the lamps. The morning comes to consciousness with the first faint, stale smell of beer from the sawdust-sprinkled streets, with all their early feet that press to early coffee stands. With the other masquerades that time resumes, one thinks of all the hands that are raising dingy shades in 1,000 furnished rooms. You threw the blanket from the bed. You lay upon your back and waited. You watched to see the night revealing the 1,000 sordid images of which your soul was constituted. They flickered against the ceiling. And when all the world came back, and the day crept in through the shutters, and you heard the sparrows in the gutters, you had such a vision of the street as the street hardly understands, sitting along the bed's edge where you curled the papers in your hair or clasped the yellowed soles of feet in the palms of both soiled hands. His soul stretched tight across the skies that stand behind the city block and answered by insistent feet at 4 and 5 and 6 o'clock, and short, square fingers stuffing pipes, and evening newspapers, and eyes assured of certain certainties. The conscience of a blackened street, impatient to assume the world. I am moved by fancies that are curled about these images and cling, the notion of some infinitely gentle, infinitely suffering thing. Wipe your hand across your mouth and laugh. The worlds revolve like ancient women gathering fuel in vacant lots.
Nice. Al Robbins, there you go. And now, before we get Julian closing us out, we have Dudamon coming up here. Dudamon. And then we got the prizes. Huh?
Man, what are you doing up here? What? Huh? Huh? Let's go to the graveyard in time. I told you, man, not to bring me out here. I am scared. Come, dig him up. What's taking you so long? Dig him up. Look, open it. Look, there's no meat on the bone. Come, run. Ah! It's to the mud here, to the mud everywhere. We go back yonder to the Maraganza, a tribe. That's what they call them in Uso. The Maraganza tribe, the more Hayhatran. There only turned out to be 100 of them left after the great bubonic plague that came from the rats that was brought from the ships. But they forgot. We have the Coyotes Nation, the Crow. Good eating this day. You ever had a rat on a full moon and just rode that little sucker and it carried you across the little segment? That little segment had big old garnoosh. That little rat, little old mouse carrying that sucker and garnoosh like this. Oh, segment, oh, segment. The segment wasn't little, he was big. And he had sweet garnoosh. But it ain't nothing like the Metagonza. Was struck that here by measles. They was struck that here by alcohol and smallpox blanket. If you're gonna get me, just give me if I get drunk off of water, you seen. Give me some water, I got drunk that day off of water. The Manhattan, the Mohican, and the Iroquois nation was wiped out after the Great Revolution that came. They jumped for joy the day that Queen Victoria left, 1891. Shaughnessy McGrade from Belfast was shipped to Australia. Hattie McDaniel from Bristol was shipped to Australia, and they land at Botany Bay. But close it. Close the gate. Close the graveyard of time.
Thank you. Okay. Julia, we have a late signer in, so she's going to go, and then you're the closer. So this is a new individual, Lizzie. Bring her up. Bring her. All right. Woo!
Oh my goodness.
Thank you. All right.
How
you guys doing?
Well, pretty good.
Alright.
Of course, my
Sometimes I
drugs
wish I
haven't
was
started to take effect yet.
Sometimes I wish I was a comedian. Alan Harris doubles as both a comedian and a writer. I aspire to be on that level one day. Alright, so the theme is
Restless.
Restless, but
Yeah.
this is more. I don't know.
You don't have to do the theme. It's whatever you like. It's you got a piece. That's cool. That's cool.
Breathless.
Breathless.
Came to me. Maria wasn't here today to clean our house, and no, she's not our cha-cha. Or maybe she sort of is, but she only cleans once a month, okay? Do you know why the door was locked? Asked my housemate, Kelsey, when I finally get a hold of her on the phone. Jose left for Mexico yesterday, but he's not answering his phone, so I'm kind of freaked out. She utters breathlessly to me, but I'm calm inside, because I know, without a shadow of a doubt, that a woman died in here just 14 years ago, in 2005. Thank you, SF Assessor's Office, and while she may have died in peace at home, our home, according to her obituary, she may be locking us out, because her body may not rest there, but her spirit still lingers inside 28 Camp Street. And she still cooks and cleans and clogs the toilet, turns lights off when we leave them on, waters my plants when I'm away, and tends to the garden alone. So no, I don't feel afraid that the guy living in his dodgy blue van that's so stuffed it almost touched the ground, sneaks in when we're gone. Kelsey, don't fear, my dear. I'll be home tonight. Just know we share our home with her every night.
Oh. Wow. Thank you. And come back. And now, Juliet, come forward, please, to serenade us, I guess.
Sure.
All right. And make sure that mic is the way you like it and like that. And I have you framed, even though you have an excuse,
Well, I'm pretty short.
All right. Very good.
Okay. So this is something that's caused me a lot of restlessness.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Mostly about things that I've done or haven't done or failed to say, things like that. Anyway. It's called Confessions of a Non-Confrontational Ex. And it goes like this. I remember when I took you out and sat you down and told you how I'm sorry I'm so hopeless and that I'd work on my emotions. I remember how you stood there with me toe to toe and nose to nose, not cheek to cheek or side to side, like you were so content to lie on all those countless nights, or from behind where I was once so desperately inclined to someday relish in the pain that came from when you one day spike and slice my spine. But to my surprise, instead I find you took your sterling silver knife and slowly took your time skewering my insides. Not with the swiftness of a thrust, but with the softness of your touch. Amidst the violence of your hugs and kisses consistently, I missed all of this viciousness inconspicuously concealed from me so despicably by those two shapely silhouettes of freshly killed carcasses, also known as your deep, dark circus red and prickly lips. Sickening lips that revealed to me those hidden, narrow and harrowing rose-like rows of serrated and mountainous pearly whites. I remember how you would lurk behind that dirty vial and murky smile. I remember how I actually convinced myself that it was worth my while to continue to allow you to inoculate me with your infectious fangs full of venomous bites of vapid vacuous lies. Vapid vacuous lies. And that I'd work on my emotions. I can't quite shake that way. You looked me dead into my eyes with that dead look inside your eyes and pressed your head up against mine and said under your breath, there's nothing wrong with your emotions. I'm just asking you to show them. You said there's nothing wrong with your emotions, so stop acting like you're broken. There's nothing wrong with your emotions, so stop acting like you're broken. You looked at me and you said to me, there's nothing wrong with your emotions, silly. So stop acting like you're broken. So I decided I would show them. But then I went ahead and showed them. Now I find I'm asking myself all the time, like, why'd I have to go and show them? Forget that hideous stain of regret insidiously ingrained across her face like a heinous, famous tattoo. Like a liquor store wall chock full of graffiti, so artfully provoking thoughts while also masking and cloaking the cracking and eroding canvas of your face. I'll never forget how without a chance to waste I would let you down without a trace of shame, doubt, or single word to escape my mouth. Cliche as it is to say, I'll never forget how you turned my whole world upside down into a kaleidoscope of gray on that foggy, fateful day when I finally and frantically worked up enough courage and mustered up enough nerve just to reveal into you my true views like we had previously discussed. And maybe it was the look of disgust. Or maybe it's the look you give when someone rips away the trust you built until you feel like giving up, as if you've seen it hurt enough. Any more would be too much. Yo, who the fuck said there's nothing wrong with my emotions? Stop acting like I'm broken. Who the fuck said there's nothing wrong with my emotions? How all I had to do was show them. Those catty eyes that I despise exemplify exactly why I hide and never show them. Why I willingly withhold them. Why I disguise them in my poems. But lately I've been writing all the time as if with every single rhyme resides in it my entire life beneath these poems. Every carefully placed line that craftily I write, constantly I find that the entirety of my life is recycled by design and inevitably inscribed inside my poems. My poems of which you'll see you no longer get to read. Thank you.
Thank you. Julianne. Oh, the last word. Wonderful. Wonderful. All right. You have survived yet another installation of this installation. I'm going to read off, reintroduce, blah, 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 the door prizes of the evening. Charles Darwin, Voyage of the Beagle, Penguin Classic. If you don't know about Charles, look him up. He's usually on the Deaf Aid. Fetish Fantastic, edited by Celia Tan. Now, Fetish Fantastic. Think about that title. That is a good title. I should have written that book. Memories of the Future by Sigmund Krasnowski from Krakow. Actually, no, I just said that. If you want to know what Portnoy's complaining about,
It's a great book.
yeah, it's a great book. And this is Rudyard Kipling, The Years Between, printed in 1902. And this was one of the, just like this book, these were found like not quite on the street. This one was a little bookshelf that someone put out in front of their house and said, free. This one was on the ground. And it's in great shape, except for that little intake there, but everything is like, no marks, no nothing. And then of course there's the mini feature, the last word, lettre, choosing the theme and the key note.
Okay, all.
She shuffled.